I heard you said there about it's not your life, and it's sorry, going back to the instruction, it's not super physical, but yeah, you'll say that until one day, like
Right.
I'm not saying you, I just people say that one day until they can't do it, and they're like, oh shit,
Right.
this is being taken away from me because, of a physical, thing.
I mean, it's my livelihood.
Yep.
And if I can't, walk around, shoot a gun, and haul stuff around the range, I'm pretty much worthless.
Yep.
I actually tore my rotator cuff, partial tear. Fortunately, it was in such a way that it didn't really affect me. But if it had been a full-on tear,
You can't work.
Yeah, I straight up asked Paul Perkerson. I was like, "Hey, if would I have been able to?" He's like, "No, dude, I'd have had to like sideline you." And
Right.
I was like, "Ooh, okay." And so, I try to like not do stupid things with my body as much now because
It's very adult of you, Sam.
yeah, like somebody invited me to get static line qualified parachute jumping. They have this thing, and I was like, "Oh, that sounds awesome."
Fun. Yeah.
And then I'm like,
you like your knees and your back?
I'm like, nah. As awesome as that would be, probably juice ain't worth the squeeze.
Yep.
Risk reward kind of thing. But,
Yep.
it. And additionally, like if I'm going to get up in front of people, whether it's the Green Line people or Warrior Poet people, and be like, "Hey, you want to be a better protector or parent, provider, guardian, citizen."
It's rooted in your health, man.
Dude, if you can't run a quarter mile without gassing out, dude, you think you're gonna? And I'm not even talking about gunfighting. And I talk about this. I'm like, dude, you might have to do something.
Right.
They're like, oh yeah, you might have to sprint to a gunfight, dude. Maybe, but you more than likely it's like there's a car on fire and you've got to drag somebody out of a car that's half a mile away, or jump over a couple of fences to get a kid out of a pool that's drowning.
Right.
Like, how worthless of a man are you if you can't do that? Like,
or how worthless are you going to feel if you end up in that situation?
Yep. And then you got to live
with
it. And you're like, oh yeah, I gaffed off my gym time because I like to eat Cheetos, and now a kid is dead. I mean, that's putting it maybe a little bit too morbidly, but still, like,
no, because when I show up to the range and I go out to the weekends, I see a lot of stuff out there. It's 5 Monster drinks and and these aren't the sugar-free kind, right? And it's candy bars and donuts or whatever they picked up at the Starbucks on the way in. Hey, and all that stuff sometimes is like, it's not that I haven't ever done any of that, right?
I'll partake.
But I'm thinking a little bit differently about it these days, particularly as we go out.
Yeah. I want to be able to run a sub 8 minute mile or
pull your body weight up, right? Or
225.
Pick up some heavy shit, move it, like carry it. You got to still be able to rotate and move, and you got to be able to slow down or decelerate. When you're moving through stuff. Those are all things that I don't think people really think about until they're out there and their shooting goes to shit because their physicality is shit, and they get frustrated. And then it's like, well, what piece of equipment is gonna fix this for me? But that said, there's so many guys out there that have really taken responsibility for that. I mean, that's again on the fitness side of the house for us. Like I talk to guys all the time, and I just saw a few this weekend where, I bumped into them and was like, wow, man, you look fantastic. And I've been following their journey, and when I say they look fantastic, they're clearly putting in the work.
And it takes work.
Yeah.
Like, I wake up at 4 a.m. sometimes to go to the gym.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest,
that sucks.
I hate waking up at 4 a.m. But you know what I hate more than that? Having to use a fucking hand mirror to see my dick.
Yeah, man. I
don't want.
We've gone back and forth about that a couple times. Yeah.
So
yeah, no, I get you, and it is such a big part of it. Just again going back to being a provider, a protector, or as the term goes, being an asset, not a liability.
100%.
I don't know what I would do if I had to have somebody pull me out of a situation because I was physically unfit. If I'm injured or whatever, I need you to be physically fit because my ass weighs 240 pounds, right? Like, I'm a heavy dude.
That's a lot of meat and cheese.
Right, exactly, man. So, like, I need you to be able to pull me out of wherever we are. But that's, whether it's my truck rolled over on the side of the freeway or, again, like, whatever. But, I mean, things for people to think about.
That shit has happened to me. Yeah. Like, a lot of car accidents as of lately. Just all kinds of stuff.
You do a lot of traveling, yeah.
Yeah. I've rolled up to many, half a dozen car accidents over the last decade.
Yeah.
You know, and other accidents too.
None of them are good, right?
Nope.
Some way worse than others.
And I'm always the only guy there who knows how to do something, who has a trauma kit, and so. Yeah,
that's interesting you brought that up. That being the other side of it is like, what else are you training? We've talked a lot of MVGs and pistol carbine stuff, helicopters.
Yep.
But the medical side of things and being prepared there as well. And we're actually doing a collab with my friend Greg Simpson. He's out of Northern California. He's a SWAT medic. He's coming down to the gym to teach a full day of first on the scene is what it's called. So we'll go through all that stuff. And what shocked me when we put it out there, and I knew people would be into it, but what shocked me is how stoked people were. Like,
good.
This is awesome.
Good.
Right? Like, more people need to do this. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's why I reached out to him. Like, how do we do this more? But like, it wasn't like a pistol carbine class or an MVG class or whatever else. It was like, hey, they want to know these skills.
That's how you be an asset.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And the sad truth is, like, a medical class, it's not sexy, like running a carbine or pistol or whatever, but you're probably going to use it. Like, I haven't shot anybody in the U.S.
right
ever, right?
And hopefully you won't ever have to.
Hopefully I won't ever have to. But I have had to use my medical training at least a half a dozen times.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you spend enough time in this world bebopping around, you're going to roll through some shit.
Yep.
And you be that asset, not that liability.
Right.
Like, I couldn't imagine like just standing there and be like,
not know what to
I'll
do.
just call 911. And that's not the type of dude I am.
10 minutes later.
Yeah. So
meanwhile, the person is, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, listen, man, that filled in a lot of gaps for me.
Cool.
And it makes a lot of sense. I didn't realize you were such a nerd. And
come to Night Fighter, and then you'll be like, holy crap, Stephen Hawking got nothing on
I
you.
actually love the classroom time. I love being in an environment where I am drinking through a fire hose and I'm listening to the other people's questions and be able to take it in, just be a student without expectation of having to know it all, by the time we're done. That's actually very intriguing to me, and it's much different, format. There's a couple other guys that do this, like it's like the distance carbine to the PRS stuff, where they stay in the classroom for a very long time, making sure people understand what it is that's going to be happening once they get out there. It's not just, let's just go out there and zero and start shooting away and make a bunch of guesses.
Yeah. Guys who do that, they understand human, adult learning theory.
Yes.
And if you don't really understand that, you're probably not going to be a very good instructor. Like,
I agree 100%.
Sometimes you got to see and write and do or see the thing, hear the thing, write the thing before you go do the thing.
100%.
And then get feedback from the coach or whatever.
So that, and for the coaches, they have to see how people are uptaking that information to know, what can they cut out? What do they need to spend more time on? What can they, they speed through? What questions to ask to check for clarification, to maintain the quality of what they're doing, also be efficient with the time that they have. So,
and don't get me wrong, like, there's going to be a lecture in Night Fighter, but we're going to shoot 1,000 rounds.
Yeah,
you will shoot.
Yeah, it's 3 days.
No, it's
2 days.
2 nights. Yeah.
2 nights. Yeah. You just have to I'll have to get my naps in before, because it goes to like 3 a.m.
Yeah, we bring out the jet boil, brew some coffee.
Nice.
Nah, usually, honestly, because we do it during the time change.
Yeah.
We're usually done shooting by 1 a.m. So they're not super, super late nights.
Okay, cool.
But we're, as soon as that sun is down from 6 to about 1 a.m., we're shooting.
Cool.